This podcast is part of the Everyday Heroes Podcast Network, the network for first responders and those who support them.
Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Hero Academy podcast. I created this podcast for you if you are a first responder, police officer, fireman, nurse, military personnel. This podcast is for you. Let's get your stories out. They need to be heard by everyone, especially the good ones. Let's share those stories and create some positivity out there in the world. Enjoy this episode. Welcome to the Hero Academy podcast, the place where we can celebrate and highlight our frontline heroes. I believe that frontline heroes such as nurses, firemen, EMS, police officers, and military are heroes without capes. I don't care about politics, only positivity and purpose. I only care about those who have chosen to serve society. I believe in collaboration over competition. Here you will learn the secrets and strategies that let ordinary people become extraordinary inside of their passion. Sometimes we'll throw in some simple side hustles that everyday regular people are doing. Things you can do to make extra money, especially if you're starting to think about retirement and what's next. Inside this podcast, each week, you will learn from people like you who are working full-time, but still found time to create a course, grow a big team, or a large audience, or a profitable side hustle. The steps they took, their backstories, and how they overcame burnout. The perfect blend of mindset and techniques. I'm your host, David Diem. Now let's get your dream lit for your freedom. Hello and welcome back, my friends and family, and thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Hero Academy podcast. If you're a frontline hero, police, fire, EMS, military, or medical professional, then you are in the right place and this show is for you. This week I'd like to introduce you to our guest, Brian, episode number 17 of the Hero Academy podcast. Brian is from the EMS universe. He's built his Instagram to up over 76,000 people. He loves to serve this community. You're going to enjoy this episode. Alright, fam, I'm going to put you on to the absolute most simplest way to start your podcast today or this week. The app is called Anchor. Number one, it's free. Number two, they have a really intuitive creation tool that allows you to record and edit right from your cell phone or laptop. Anchor will distribute it out to all the major podcast players like Apple, Spotify, and many more. It's really everything you need to get started in one simple app. P.S. I recommend starting this week instead of letting months go by like I did. You can start to earn money right from your podcast right away with no minimum audience, no minimum listenership. The service is free and the app is free. And let me repeat this so you really get it. They have everything you need to get going ridiculously fast. You can use your cell phone in your pocket to make bank. You can create, distribute, and monetize your podcast right from your celly. Download the Anchor app today after this podcast. That's ANCHOR. Or on your computer, the website is anchor.fm. Welcome back, family. So today we have Brian Soden of EMS Universe. Thank you for joining this week's episode of the Hero Academy podcast. If you're a frontline hero, police, fire, EMS, military, or medical professional, you are definitely in the right place, and this show is for you. This week, I'd like to introduce you to Brian of EMS Universe. I keep saying that. I'm sorry.
That's all good.
To start off the show, could you tell everybody just, a quick story about your life?
Sure. A little history about me.
Yeah, a little history.
So I'm Brian, as Dave said. Dave, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure.
So I've been in EMS for around 21 years now. I've spent some time in volunteer, spent some time in the paid side, I've spent some time in the education side, and I've also spent time on the social media side. So I have, quite a bit of history within EMS itself. I started when I was very, very young. I was 15 years old when I joined my first volunteer ambulance. And ever since then, it's been something that I just can't get away from.
That's really cool. All of my kids were in the youth corps, volunteer ambulance corps. Mm-hmm. And my niece and nephew were also a part of it as well. My kids didn't like it. They didn't want to do it, but we were forcing them to go for a while just so that they would have something to do and be involved in something. Thank you for all of your years of service. I just want to throw that out there right away.
My pleasure.
And I connected with you because of your huge Instagram following. You're up to like 75,000 followers right now.
Yeah, I just checked it about a minute ago. It's 76.5.
76.5. And when did you start that?
I started the page in 2015.
And how much time do you have to dedicate to it nowadays?
When I first started the page, I was pretty dedicated to it. I was on there constantly looking for content and, trying to grow the page. But nowadays, thankfully with all of my followers, I'm able to just kind of sit back and let them send me the content, because the whole basis of my page is the followers. It's not about me. It's not about anything else. It's all about the followers.
So that's the lesson that I had to learn, is not make my page about me and more about who I'm trying to serve. Tell us about your career as a member of the EMS.
So like I said, I started when I was 15 years old. I joined as a volunteer, as a cadet. When you're 15, you're allowed to wash the ambulance, clean the ambulance. You're not allowed to go on any calls or anything. But when you turn 16, you're allowed to go on calls. And here in New Jersey at 16, you're allowed to get your EMT. Of course, I didn't get my EMT right then and there, but I became a driver and I slowly climbed up through the ranks. Eventually, I got my EMT, kept climbing through the ranks, and now I'm second in command.
That's pretty cool. What is your rank with the EMS?
My rank is first lieutenant.
First lieutenant. And do you do that full time, or is that your part-time thing?
No, that's a part-time. That's a volunteer thing.
And EMS Universe, is that going to be your full-time job someday?
I would like to hope that it would be. I have a lot of big hopes and dreams within the EMS community as a whole. Hopefully I can get those things off the ground and get things going.
All right. That's really cool. Do you have any other side hustles that you're working on right now? Any other social media channels?
No, it's just the EMS Universe that really takes up a lot of my time.
So you're focused on that?
Yeah.
What steps did you take to start that? Did you just start posting one day?
I was having a conversation with one of my buddies and I said, you go on Instagram, search for fire. You search for fire and you'll find 500 pages that support fire departments. Now search for EMS. You search for EMS, you find maybe one, maybe two, but they're not really in support of EMS. They're kind of making fun of EMS, or, they're posting memes, which is fine. I'm not knocking the meme pages, but there was nothing out there to support EMS. And I said, dude, I really got to start a page that supports EMS. And he was like, yeah, do it. Call it EMS Universe. And I was like, I don't know. Do you think it'll take off? I was real apprehensive about it. People just find it kind of funny because EMS is like a fickle little family. It's either all support or no support.
Yep.
So I was real apprehensive about it, but I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. So I started the page. I started posting my own stuff, my own content, my own pictures, everything that I was taking. And eventually it just took off. And the next thing I knew, I had 10,000 followers and it just kept growing from there.
I know that I've shared some of your content before. What kind of challenges do you face now with the page?
A lot of challenges that I face are going back to support. I try really hard to promote positivity within my page because it's not a place that we come to knock each other down. We go to EMS Universe to build each other up and to support each other. And unfortunately, I do have a fairly large block list because people don't understand that.
Yep. I've had to block some people, and that's one of the reasons why I connected with you, because your page is so positive and I see what you're trying to do. And then also before we started recording, we talked about how many messages you're getting daily. And I think people don't realize that the bigger your page gets, the more messages you get.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And not only from followers, you get those spam messages. I get probably 10 or 15 spam messages a day that, oh, if you pay me $20, I can grow your following. I don't need that.
I know. As soon as I see it, I just delete those. And some of the comments, when they're like, oh, promote it on militaryblaze.com, I'm like, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I get the same stuff.
Yeah, sometimes I respond back just because I feel like it, What's some of the biggest lessons that you've learned from building out your page?
I had really no education into social media when I first started this. So I kind of went into it blindly. And I really learned a lot about the algorithms and how and when to post and what kind of things to post. And I mean, it only kind of sort of followed what I did because I have a kind of where the followers sent me their stuff. But along the way, I came to be sort of a point of contact for people that were trying to grow their own pages. And, they would come to me and they'd say, listen, I'm having trouble getting my followers up. What do I do? And I said, well, back then it was, well, post a picture at like 9, post a picture at noon, post a picture at 4. And that'll help increase your following, and then of course they change the algorithm and you have to start.
They're always changing it. We were talking, before we started recording that Instagram has announced that they are a video first platform now. They no longer care about photos.
Yeah. It's such a shame because they started with photos, You're
going to have your followers send you reels.
Yeah, and I do. I have some that send me reels and they do great. They perform really well.
Yeah. Instagram is heavy and hot on the reels right now.
Yeah, it's because it's what's doing good. They're competing against TikTok.
If you could have your own Netflix special, what would you make it about?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Probably something EMS related, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think if it would have to be a Netflix special, I'd probably have to base it on volunteers in the EMS world.
They are special people and they have, special hearts for sure.
It's a very different kind of world. A lot of people in the paid EMS world, when they're on, when they have their pager on their belt, they're in game mode, but in the volunteer world, you have to kind of like turn off game mode, but be ready to turn it on at any time. And I have always thought that it would be pretty cool to follow someone that's in the volunteer world, just kind of follow them around their house. He's got to go. He missed cooking half of his dinner, because the pager went off. Now he's got to run out of the house. And I thought that would be something cool for, people to see, because not a lot of people know how we do things.
Yeah, I have so much tremendous respect for all of the volunteers because I know, some of the sacrifices that they make. And I know that they're not doing it for pay. They're doing it out of love, Yeah.
I can't tell you how many New Year's Eves I missed because I was on a call, or Christmas morning, my daughter's opening presents and I'm running out the door. Over the years, I've done it many times.
Do you have any advice for people that want to avoid burning out?
Come to my page. Be happy.
That's good. That's good advice. What's the page if people want to find it?
EMS_universe.
EMS_universe. And do you have a favorite quote that you live by?
One quote that I really like that sticks with me a lot, and I found it on social media, is hustle until your haters ask if you're hiring.
I actually have a t-shirt that says that.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Afterwards, if I can find it, I'll send you a link to where I got it from. Have you had any crazy experiences while riding the ambulance?
Oh, I have way too many.
What's one that stands out in your mind? Not something negative, but something maybe just wild and funny.
One that sticks out right away is a call that I got. I must have been, 19. I was fairly young. It was for a catheter issue. So we get there and it's in a assisted living facility, and we're walking down the hall and they say, it's this room right over here. So we go and we turn the corner and the door is already open. So we start walking in and this elderly gentleman comes walking down the hallway in a bathrobe, nothing else. The bathrobe is wide open. He has a catheter in his hand and he's looking at us and he goes, "This fell out."
Oh God.
This fell out. Like nothing had even happened. Like that had to have been so painful.
Oh my God. I pray to God that I never need one of those. For those that don't understand what a catheter is.
So that's basically a tube that goes inside of you and takes away the need to go to the bathroom.
Oh my God. Yeah, I pray that I never ever need one of those. I pray that I stay dehydrated. Stay hydrated, not dehydrated.
Yeah, stay hydrated.
You have any advice for young and upcoming EMS workers?
One of the biggest things I can say is don't try to do it alone. Don't ever try to do it alone. EMS is a family-oriented community. We're huge on helping each other. Even when you get to those older salty medics or, the older salty EMTs that don't seem like they want to help you, maybe don't ask them questions, but stand back and watch what they're doing. You can learn a lot from other people. The day that you really start learning is the day that you graduate EMT school. That's the day that you really start learning, because you get on the ambulance and then you start what's called street medicine. Nothing happens the same way in the book that it happens on the street. So pay attention to everything around you. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to talk. A lot of things that we go through are difficult to deal with. Don't hold that stuff in. Don't be afraid of coming out and saying, hey, this call was difficult for me. That's one of the hardest things that we do in EMS, is dealing with difficult situations. And it ends up being difficult for us because we have this stigma of, we have to be tough. No, we don't. We don't have to be tough. We can reach out to people. We can ask for help. We can communicate to anybody. I don't know how many times I've had messages to me say, hey, I had this call. It was difficult for me. What can I do about it? I don't understand it. And, even though I have 76,000 followers and I have a daughter and a girlfriend and, a job, and I'm a busy guy, but I will stop everything that I'm doing and I will help that person through that situation, because that's what we do in EMS. And if that person feels like they have no one else to go to other than me, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and I'm going to go to that person and help them.
I respect that, Brian. You have a servant's heart. Who are some of your heroes? Like, if you could have a conversation with top 5, dead or alive.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I haven't really, I kind of do things on my own. There's people that I'm envious of, but that just makes me work harder towards my own situations. One of the biggest people that has always pushed me in my life, though, is my grandfather. He's always pushed me and put me in the right direction. So he's definitely on that list.
And I mentioned the goatee and the tats. Who are your top 3? I said you're obviously a rocker. Who's your top 3 bands?
We got to give it to Five Finger Death Punch.
Okay.
Got to give it to From Ashes to New.
Okay.
And one of my all-time favorites is Kill Switch Engage.
All right. I haven't heard of any of those groups except for Five Finger Death Punch.
Well, now you got some research to do.
Yeah, I got some research to do.
Yeah, stuff, man.
Yeah, as soon as we're done, I'll definitely do some YouTube research.
Just don't listen to them right before you go to bed, because then you'll be all amped up.
And now I'm going to listen to it right before I hit the gym.
Yeah, that's
What's 3 pieces of advice you'd give yourself at 18 years old if you could talk to that kid?
Start EMS Universe sooner. That would be 1. Don't give up on your dreams. Along the way, I gave up on some things that I didn't think were possible that, looking back, I probably could have done. And another one would probably be put yourself out there more.
So along with that, my advice to you is, since Instagram is going to video, start shooting videos. Have you followed the paramedic coach?
Oh, yeah. He's one of my good buddies.
Yeah, so I had him on the show, and you see the kind of content he does. You could do the same thing for EMS. There's not enough people doing it. You could build up a YouTube channel and repurpose that content for Instagram. And it doesn't have to be as long. It could be short, 3-minute clips.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to have to do something and look at some changes to be able to stay relevant.
If you had Jeff Bezos' money, what would you do with it?
So in a few words, I would completely change the EMS world. That would be the very first thing that I do.
What kind of changes would you make?
So not to go too deep into anything, I feel that the EMS world is extremely broken. The EMS community is just so fractured, it's not even funny. And unfortunately, I feel that the changes need to come from the top down. You can't make the changes from the bottom up. But if I had Jeff Bezos' money, I would buy out the entire EMS community and revamp the whole situation. We need unified funding. We need equalized pay. We need fair shifts, fair schedules. These guys are running 48s and 72s, and they're making $18 an hour.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. If time wasn't a factor, what would you spend all of your time doing? Like, what are you most passionate about?
I mean, I really love EMS. That's where I'm at day in and day out.
So if you didn't have to work, would you spend time just like maybe talking to those guys and shooting content, and producing content?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If I didn't have to work, EMS Universe would be the number one on the list. And, trying to help the EMS community would be where I'm at.
That's cool that like you're really focused on the one thing, you like, I see that you're not like in all these different directions. You're like really focused on Instagram.
Yeah. I'm just, I feel that EMS needs a lot more support. And yes, I did start the page as kind of a, hey, let's just get together and, post some fun things. But along the way, it really became a centralized means for people to communicate and support each other. And so I've kind of made it my own mission to make it a much more unified and supportive family.
Do you have any projects that you're working on next within this?
Stuff that I'm working on now, not really new things, I wouldn't say, but I am always looking for other content creators to come on board with me because that only builds the community stronger. If you take a look at my website, I do have stuff actually from the paramedic coach. I have stuff from field medics. I have stuff from GBU medics.
Brick EMS.
Well, Brick EMS, they're not on my store, but it's very well known on my page that they're good buddies of mine.
Yeah. I like that content.
Yeah, they're awesome people over there.
I'm just going to give you my last final rapid five-finger death punch questions.
Hopefully I make it out of it.
What's your definition of a hero?
A hero is a selfless being that puts others before themselves.
And when stress is at its highest and you're at your lowest, how do you save yourself? How do you show yourself love?
One of the ways that I do best is to shut myself away and turn up the music. That's one of the best ways that I deal with things.
Would you ever consider offering coaching as another income source, like to EMS guys?
Yeah, absolutely. If someone was interested in coaching with me, I would be more than happy to. I did spend 5 years as an EMT instructor.
Yeah, so you have a lot of knowledge packed in there. A lot of experience, too. You've been at it a long time.
Yeah.
What's your greatest power today? What's your best strength, your best ability?
My best ability would probably be right back to Instagram. My ability to bring people together.
Build community.
Yeah, my ability to build a community. And, when the community really needs to rally, I feel that I have the ability to pull people together for that rally.
That's cool. And my last one, if you had a comic superpower, what would that be?
Cool. Comic superpower. This might sound a little silly, but I'm going to say flight.
Flight's not silly. Flight represents freedom. That's why a lot of people choose it.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
The reason I would choose it is so that I could go and travel and visit all of these EMS communities.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
I had an idea of like traveling around the country and visiting like different police departments and just interviewing guys. I don't know how many people would be open to being on camera though, because a lot of people are like a little standoffish about putting themselves out there.
Yeah, especially in the police world.
Yeah.
In 2021, it's the cameras and police are.
Yeah. Brian, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I respect everything that you've put into your page and, it's just your life of service. I just want to say thank you for coming on and being my guest.
No, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, brother. And I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
All right, family. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Everyone I interview, I've chosen for you guys because of their story. And I hope that you get some value every single time. If you did get value or just simply enjoyed the episode, please share the episode with someone that you know. If you know of a guest, a frontline hero that has an amazing story, something uplifting or a positive message, hit me up in the contact form of www.davidleith.com or DM me at Instagram at davidleith1. Subscribe to the show because I have some really phenomenal guests coming up in the next few weeks that you definitely don't want to miss. All right, 1.